was on a train, having purchased a very small pot plant near the station on a whim. I was off to London. I named my plant Bob. This is Bob. And I noticed the difference he made to a stark meeting room that I was using that day. On the return journey, I also noticed that Bob attracted people to my train table, and I was sitting in an otherwise empty carriage. Long story short, that spiraled into an MSc dissertation on coaching in nature and led me to choose Mother Nature for a business partner. And we've been working together for a year now. Now, let's face it, we have been tested to the extreme for the last 14 months. Not only have we needed to respond to the usual complexity of human doings, organizational systems, societal shifts, environmental challenges, there's been the small matter of a global pandemic. Organised human groups have been scattered to kitchen tables, the cupboard under the stairs, kids' bedrooms. Our visibility has been reduced to head, neck, upper torsos, sharing an 1/8 or even a 25th of a 13-inch screen. Economies have slowed as budgets draw tighter. We've adapted to physical distancing, mask wearing, and singing in our heads while washing our hands obsessively for 20 seconds. I'd like to have you all put your hands up. Clearly videos are off, so I'm going to assume you're going to put your hands up at this point. If you found yourself going out into nature more as a result of the pandemic, I know there's a little thumbs up thing, so if you can do that, you found yourself going outside more during this period. Even with the increase that's happened of people going outside more in the last year, the UK is one of the least nature-connected countries, with just 1 in 5 children with any significant connection to the natural world. Thank you for those thumbing up. And yet all studies to this day demonstrate that this connection leads to better health, better happiness, better behaviour, and more resilience. The same is true for adults. During the pandemic, nature has offered us the safest places to meet, to get exercise, to relax our minds and our bodies. Mrs. N, Mother Nature, has way more to offer than that if we are prepared to look and reciprocate. Nature can introduce us to a systemic view. By that I mean an understanding of interconnections and of mutual reliance. Have you ever felt really small standing by the ocean, or in a gorge such as Cheddar or Burrington Combe as we have here in Somerset, or by looking at a supermoon on Red Moon Day or something? We're of this earth, and I hate to break it to you, but we share 18% of our DNA with Bob here. The embodied sense of being in the natural world gifts us with an awareness of a larger system from which we can draw parallels to the world of study and the world of work, to understand our role and to create a healthier and more resilient relationship with the world and with nature that benefits all parties, even the creepy crawly ones. Mother Nature provides the context of interconnection and interdependent arrangements and phenomena. Think of trees. Think of trees in a woodland. They would struggle to survive if it weren't for the fungal network, the mycelium operating between root systems. They provide a conduit for electrical and chemical alerts, what Peter Wohlleben, author of The Hidden Life of Trees, calls the wood wide web. And I love that. Think of the communication channels in your world. Where would you be without them? Not here, that's for sure. Bioengineering and biochemistry is often inspired by natural phenomena. Einstein is credited with saying that looking into nature helps us understand everything better. There's an intelligence in nature that's easy to overlook. But once you notice it, you see it everywhere. We can choose our ongoing relationship through our interactions and our observations. We can find ways in which this relationship can boost our own resilience. Let's pause a moment and just think about what resilience really is. There's an awful lot written about it. So for simplicity, I'm just going to state right now, it is not keep calm and carry on, and it is not having a stiff upper lip. It was first used to describe why, hundreds of years ago, why some types of timber could withstand sudden impacts or severe loads without breaking. In the early 70s, it was applied by a chap called Holling to ecosystems as a measure of their ability to absorb changes and still exist. It was also around that time that psychologists started to use it to describe a capacity to withstand traumatic situations and the ability to use that trauma as a start of something new. Nowadays, it's generally accepted as an ability to bounce back, to ride the lumps and bumps of life without being significantly knocked off course. That takes work. And to do this well, we need help. The good news is that nature is a free, readily available, powerful ally. Consider your own relationship with nature. Is it somewhere you go for a walk, get some fresh air, have a run, go for a bike ride? Is nature even there for you, to consume and use? How do you use nature? How would you feel if your favorite green spaces were threatened? When you're out there, do you pause? Do you stop to absorb the surroundings, to really notice what's there, not just hear, but really listen to the birds, inspect the knots in a gnarly old oak tree, or observe the clouds passing overhead? Do you point these things out to others? Take photos? Reflect on the thoughts that come your way? How much do you absorb? Do you lose track of time? Do you notice the feel of being part of the wholly natural, sharing your DNA with these other flora and fauna? Do you notice the air on your skin, the ground beneath your feet? When's the last time you went barefoot in the grass? Or do you go full Wim Hof and wild swim in icy waters? Not brave enough for that yet. I'll put my hand up. If you haven't heard of him, he is definitely worth a Google. So, do you ever closely look at the tiny worlds that exist within hedgerows and in nooks and crannies on ivy-covered walls? You may be surprised what you notice, little ecosystems within ecosystems. I'm not judging you. There isn't a right or wrong answer here, unless you're being destructive. I'm inviting you to consider your relationship with nature, and I guarantee if you deepen the connection, your brain will thank you for it. So, try a deeper experience. You can light up the reward centers in your brain by giving it a dose of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. Time in nature has been proven to boost creativity, reduce blood pressure, and produce feelings of calm and well-being. Here's a few things to try. Go out daily, 5 minutes. Breathe deeply and knowingly. Stare into some foliage, or at the clouds, or watch the birds on a feeder, or watch the drama of the noisy pigeons. Follow where your attention wants to go, and then go a bit further and look a bit closer. 5 minutes. You could recall natural places you've loved in the past. Maybe try it now. Close your eyes. Visualize being in that favorite natural place. It could be the coast, it could be country. Engage all of your senses. What did you see? What was around you? What were you looking at? What was in your immediate surroundings? What was there when you looked further away? What can you feel? Do you remember the temperature? Were you sitting? Were you standing? Were you lying on the beach? Were you sitting in the grass? What do you recall hearing? What were the noises surrounding you? What could you smell? What were the scents of the area? And did you eat anything or drink anything? Can you recall the taste and the sensation? That little exercise on a wet, windy, horrible day when you definitely don't want to kind of step outside can do some of the same things that spending time in nature can do. Not at a deeper level, but they can create some of those hormones that I've just described. When you step between indoors and outdoors, do you ever pause to notice the different sensations? Stepping from warm into cold, or cold, maybe cool, into hot, depending on the weather. What do you notice when you move between those two zones? Or when you're coming in from outside to indoors? If you walk with a friend, do you chat all the way around? Have you ever thought about trying to agree to walk silently for a set time? Agree 15, 10, 20 minutes, of saying nothing, walking in silent companionship and seeing what thoughts emerge. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it can be deeply powerful. And then when you chat, you're talking about the things that came up for you. You could carry a notebook. You could jot down or draw things that pull at your attention, and then remind yourself of them at different times when you need a little lift or you need a little boost. One thing I love to do is taking photographs of natural things, but from unusual angles. Refreshing appreciation by looking at a different perspective. The underside of a mushroom with all the little feathers, if you like. A close-up of tree bark or lichen or moss. Dandelions. Notice the depth, notice the textures. A high-definition photo of a rotting tree or a fallen log. Let's face it, most camera phones can do HD photography now. One that lets you zoom in on it on a home screen and see what else is in that picture. What didn't you notice at the time? Remind yourself that this is true in all aspects of human experience. There are things we don't see the first time round, kind of like Easter eggs in Disney movies. Find a space to stop, sit, and just be. Breathe. Full and deeply. Notice your breaths. Allow yourself to slow down and engage with all of your senses. I do advise you don't lick trees. One word of caution. Eat blackberries though. Find things. Now this may all sound a bit woo. I get that, it does. But I promise you it's not. The only woo here is in my name. There is a raft of evidence to confirm the benefits to mental and physical health from just 20 minutes a day spent in an outdoor, nature-infused setting. If you don't believe me, get in touch. I have a lovely long reading list you can have. Use this information for yourself. Share it with others, home workers, home studiers. We all need to detach ourselves from screen time, to get away from technology, artificial lighting. No matter how good it is, we need to take a beat. Leave the smartphone behind and step out of our busy life for a moment. Productivity improves when we take re-energizing breaks, finding a little time to pause and breathe, restore, turn it off and on again. Let Mrs. N take some of the strain. Let nature be your teacher. When you reach beyond being a mere consumer and actively connect with nature, you both get so much more. So Bob and I appreciate your attention. And when this morning's activities are complete, get out. Thank you.